Okay, so welcome to this session of Introduction to Web Development with Django. So I am also excited to embark on this journey with you into the world of web development using Django framework. So this particular course is designed to take us up to like 7 weeks. And before I tell you guys that it's going to be 4 times per week, so I just decided to make it like once in a week because it's just four topics that we are going to cover each week. So I decided to just join those uh, four topics in a particular day because it's not that much. So instead of separating it into different days, I just decided to join it in one day so that you guys can just have the rest of the day and go and do what you're supposed to be doing. So it's like someone is joining now. Okay, and there's another one too. Okay, good. So let's move on with what we are doing. Okay, so in this course, we'll explore how to create a powerful interactive websites and applications using Django. And Django is just a framework built with Python. Web development is all about crafting the digital experiences with digital experiences we encountered every day. Okay, so from the websites we browse and from the websites we browse to the apps we use. So Django makes the process smoother and more efficient by providing tools and patterns to build a dynamic web application. So let us just jump into
Please,
this thing.
yeah,
What you say is
noisy.
like you are saying something. Hello. It's like someone is saying something.
It was kind of noisy.
Okay, so is it okay now or there's any problem?
No, it's okay, but sir, I didn't understand the Jago web. What does it mean and what is it used for?
Yeah, Django is just a framework. Okay, so Django is just a framework that built using Python. Django is built using Python. It's just a framework to simplify writing the back end code and all those models and those parts. It's just a framework, just like Bootstrap. I don't know, maybe if you did Bootstrap. Did you do anything like Bootstrap?
We, no, we didn't do Bootstrap.
So what we mean by framework is that it's just a technology that is built to simplify writing codes or writing a lot of things. Like the way you used to use PHP, there's a lot of things that in Django you don't need to write a function or build a function or write a code that will do that particular stuff. Django has a lot of modules that is built inside Django. Or for example, like authentication, you just need to import the model and then it's just like a function, then run it. It's just going to authenticate whatever you pass inside those parameters. So Django has a lot of things that is already done that you don't need to bother yourself to build those kind of things. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so this course provides an introduction to web development using the Django framework. You will learn how to build dynamic and data-driven web applications using Python. So instead of writing pure Python, like let me tell you something, Django has something we called ORM. So ORM is just a simple way to write an SQL statement without actually writing that SQL statement. So instead of writing like insert into, just the way you used to write your SQL statement, so in Django you don't need to do that kind of thing. You just need to write your pure Python, and automatically Django in the background is going to turn it into SQL statement and then execute it as a database query. So this course cover fundamental concepts such as models, views, templates, forms, and authentications, enabling you to create full functional web application. So we'll be talking to what's it called, MBC. So here's our agenda of this week 1. This is all what we are going to discuss today, not tomorrow, not next tomorrow. These are the things I broke into. I have broken before into 4 days. I was telling you that we are going to be meeting like each day, like 4 times in a week. So I just started to join everything in one day because it's not going to take us that much, and me too, I'm not going to take that long in talking about this part, because I want us to jump into the main lesson. So introduction to web development with Django, I already discussed that. It's just to introduce you to the course and tell you how the course is and what Django is and what is normally and why we use Django. So I can even ask you guys that why did you choose Django? Because I think I'm not the one that introduced you to this course. It's your own interest that you said you like to integrate Python as a server-side programming language for web applications. So why did you choose Django? Or let me say, why did you choose Python for back-end development in web development?
So is that a question to us to answer?
Yeah, it's a question to you. Why did you choose Python to your web
Okay,
development?
all right. Python is used to code back end, and ideally, we are not the one that chose Python. It was chosen by us. It was chosen by Mr. The director of the institute, Mr. Ama.
Okay, so
But we know it's used for back end development, and also
normally,
you can use it for data analysis.
yeah, normally Python is not just meant for back-end development, because Python is a kind of a standard programming language that can be used to build any kind of stuff like desktop application, web application, and Android application, machine learning, data science, a lot of things that you can do with Python. So to me, the reason why I choose Python for my own back-end development, and in general, why is why is Python so useful, is because sometimes our web applications need to be like, you can try to integrate something like AI or machine learning, even though you can do that kind of things with JavaScript, but Python has a specific room, especially when you are using this framework called Django. It will help you to integrate different kind of machine learning models and then develop a web application that will be running live with machine learning. For example, you can design a web application with Python that will be predicting a software developer salary, or it will be predicting student or academic performance, or all those kind of stuff. So Python is more a something that you can integrate, like artificial intelligence. You can integrate artificial intelligence, machine learning, anything you can integrate it to web, while some of our programming languages like PHP cannot do that. Okay, so and secondly, se- secondly secondly, why we use Python in web development is that Python has some frameworks like Flask, Django, which is we are going to look at right now. And the reason why most of our people, when they choose to use Python, they decided to use Django, because Django is a very large web application. Django can handle different kind of large datas inside. Okay, unlike other frameworks like Flask. So even using Django, there's a lot of social medias you can build with Django, and it will save you a lot of time, because in Django there's a lot of things you need to write in the back end, which you don't need to develop them from scratch. They are already there, you just need to import them as a package. Okay, just the way I give you an example. For example, let's say you are designing a login page, and you want to like validate those login page. So you want to check if that user already if that user didn't add anything inside that input. So you can just say if the length of that input is less than 2 or 3, you should just pump a message. So there is a module too that you need to import that message. You don't need to build that message yourself. It's a model, and that model message has a lot of things, a specific inbuilt type that you can differentiate them. If it is a success, you can design different alerts. Like if it is an error, there is an error that message arrow. Then you can check if that tag is an error, then it will now pump. Don't worry, we'll go into those, but I'm just telling you things that you don't need to build. Django already handle that part. So we are going to see that in future when we jump into validations. So the next thing we are going to look at is MBC. Okay, MBC. I don't know if any of you has any idea on MBC. Let me check. It's like someone is joining now.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I don't have any idea on that.
MVC. So MVC means MVC is just abbreviation of model view controllers, and we are going to look at it right now.
Sir, please, I want to ask.
Yes.
Sorry to cut you short.
No, it's okay.
This agenda, is it for today?
Yeah, it's for today. We are going to cover them all today.
Okay.
Yes, just for today. So talking of MVC, we are talking about MVC, right? Sorry, I'm trying to. So we are talking of MVC. So in the world of web development, the model view controllers, which I already tell you that it means in short form is MVC. An architecture is design. Architecture is a design pattern that provides a structured way to organize the separate components. Okay, like the model part. Let me start with the model part. So anytime you hear you had a model in Django or in other in other frameworks like Flask, whenever you had about MVC, it's just the way you can separate your routes, your views, and your models. So what is model in Django? Model represents the application data and business's logics. Okay, it is responsible for managing data, the roles, and govern the data's behavior and the interactions. Just like I know all of you have you have experience on database, right?
What kind of class you're teaching?
Did he teach you any database like MySQL or Postgres or SQLite?
taught us my SQL, that is database.
Yes. So what we mean by model in Django is just like that MySQL that you know. Instead of creating a table, so in short, model is just like a table in Django. But the only difference is there is that in MySQL you can run some queries like create table. It will create the columns, everything, the data types, everything you can just pass. But in Django you just need to use classes. Classes. You just need to use classes to build that model. Don't worry, just for you to have experience on it. We'll be doing the practical, but not today because we are not going to do anything related to database today. I'm just going to give you an understanding of MVC architecture. Then I will show you how to install and set up Django development environment on your system. Then I'll also create a basic Django project or an application that will just run live so that you understand the Django will be moving live. Okay, so views is responsible for rendering the data provided by the model. Just like, let's say you already create a table in MySQL and you want to read those data to your HTML table, for example. So that table, that view of that table is what we mean by view in Django, because it's in views that you are going to import your HTML file. Is in the view that you are going to render that HTML file and then display it to the browser. While the controllers, they are just routes and acts all as an intermediary between the model and the view, which is the routes. Just like the way you used to go and said, like let's say you want to go to like /about/homepage. So those route, there is a specific page that you can handle those routes. So this is what we mean by controllers. Okay, and then routes. Don't worry, today you are going to see routes. You see how route is, but models, you are not going to see models today, because models is when we start interacting with database. That is please help us shut down your mic, please. Okay, so this is all about MVC, model view controllers. The model is a part that you can design or structure a table, but using Python classes. Then view is the page that you'll be rendering your HTML files. Like, let's say you have your index.html and you want to render it to the web page, so you have to pass it inside a template folder. And then from template folder you have to read it or render it in a view page, so that whenever you create a route in your controller page, which is like, you can just say /index page, for example, like /index, then it will now render whatever it is inside that view. So this is just a little thing I have to tell you in MVC. So any question in MVC before we jump into installing Django and setting it up in our environment? Any question on MVC, minus those that join in late?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I don't really understand this MVC. I'm trying to. But you're kind of fast.
Yeah, the reason why I'm fast is that you don't need to. I just want you to understand what MVC is now, but you see MVC in action, especially view and controllers. We are going to look at views and controllers today, but model is when we start interacting with database. That is when I'll show you how model works. So model is just where you design or structure your tables, but using Python classes. Okay, classes in Python, using classes in Python. Views, while views is a place where you write your functions and render the pages to your browser. Then views is not going to display anything on the browser until you create your controllers, which is the routes. Don't worry, you see this in details. So let us just jump into installing Django on our system. So I think maybe let me just create a new program. Maybe let me just create it inside, and then I'll call this Django class. Django class. So the first thing we need, you just need to be connected to network before you start installing Django. And secondly, you need to have Python installed on your system. And then I think most of you have Python installed on your system, because I think I taught some of you Python in SE before we jump into this one. So now I'm going to open my command prompt by just clicking on this. The reason why I just open my command prompt from this place, I don't need to open the command prompt and start doing cd into the folder, cd into the folder. No, we don't need to do that. The only thing I need is that once you create a folder, it is more easier. Just click on this search bar like this, then just search cmd, so it is going to pump up. It is going to pump up. So and there's one thing I need to tell you guys before we move on in. There is one thing I need to tell you. You need to know about side packages and how to install side packages. Okay, so what we mean by side packages is just like a files or a files in a website that you need to download through your system. For this, let me just PyPal, I think. No, not PyPal. Yes, let us just say PyPal. So let us just go to this PyPal website so that I will tell you what pip install package is. So you see, this is how you can install your Django by using pip install Django. Django is not an installer that you need to download from browser. No, you just need to open your command prompt and then run this command, pip install Django. This pip is a command that whenever you install your Python on your computer, is going to install this pip automatically, and this pip is called Python install package. Python install package. So once you call this pip and then do install, then the name of the side package you want to install inside. And you can also read some documentations here if you want to know more about how to install that Django, and you can also download the files manually, but this is not recommended. It's better you should just run the pip install. It should be better. So before we run the Django on us, before we run that command, we need to create a virtual environment. And what is virtual environment? Virtual environment is simply an environment that you will create. So anytime you are installing a side package on your computer, it's not going to be installed inside your computer. It's going to be installed inside that virtual environment that you already built. Let me show you how it is. So to create virtual environment, for those that they are using Mac, the command is different, but for Windows the command is Python, I think -m venv. Then this is the command. This Python, is already Python command. Then -m, and then you now pass the virtual environment command for creation. Virtual environment, this command you have to write it the way it is now. Then the name of the environment you need to create. So for this one, let me just call it environment env. Let me just call it env to just simplify things. So once you click on enter, it will create the virtual environment, and it's not going to tell you anything. It will just show you another command line to run another command, but it is creating that virtual environment. You see it here. So it is now downloading all the necessary files and then passing it inside. So to create virtual environment, you don't need to be connected. You don't need to connect yourself to the network. It doesn't require network, this one. But to install Django in this virtual environment, you need to connect to network, because we don't have Django installed on our system. We just need to pip install it from site packages. So let us just give it time. So it's already done. It is done creating that virtual environment. So the next thing we need to do is we need to activate this virtual environment on our command prompt, because the virtual environment is already created, but it is not activated on our command prompt. So whenever we run any site package command here to install, it is going to install inside our user, our document, inside our user, which is the name of the user you are using. Then inside that user, there is a space that is going to install all the site packages there, and we don't want it to be on our system. It's nothing if you use it like this, it is okay. But the only difference is that whenever you need to create a Django web application, it's better you should just create new virtual environment and then install new Django on that virtual environment, because sometimes Django is used to be updated. So in case there is update, at least the system you are building at that current time, it is updated to the latest Django at that particular time. So but once you install it on your system, it's not going to be updated, because it is already there. Then you need to find another command to upgrade the Django you already installed on your system. But if it is on virtual environment, it is not on your system, it is just inside this virtual environment. You can just delete the folder, you already delete everything that is inside. So let us activate this virtual environment and then try to install Django on our system. So to activate the virtual environment, we just need to write a command. It's just a simple command, dot backslash, then we now pass the name of the environment, which is in our case it is env. Can you see the screen clearly, or do you want me to zoom it again? Hello, can you see it clearly, or you want me to zoom the screen? You can see the screen, right? Or maybe let me just
I'll be quick in response because I'm trying to. My earpiece is not working, so my earpiece to listen. I have to remove it.
Okay, good. So I'm now zooming. I just zoom the screen so that you just see it clearly. So this is the command we are running. Okay, this is the command we are running. So dot backslash, then the env. Let me just bring this up. Yeah, so where's our command prompt? Yes, so this is the virtual environment. Then the first command is dot. This dot means this directory, this current directory that we are inside, this Django class. It should just enter this folder. It should enter this folder, and then inside that folder it should enter scripts. Then inside scripts it should activate whatever. We should activate this directory. So let me just show you how it is. Inside this folder we have a folder called script, and inside this script then we have activate.path. Yeah, here it is, activate.path. So this is the command for activating the virtual environment. So we can just run the command by writing the activate, then we now click on enter. You see our virtual environment is successfully activated. It is now activated. So the next thing we need now is we need to install Django. From the site I show you, the command is just as simple as this: pip install Django. If you cannot write it, you can just click on this button, it will copy it, then go back to your command prompt, paste it, then click on enter. It is going to run. So let us just give it some. No, I'm having network issue, that is why it is failing. I'm having some network issue. Let me retry it again. Let me retry it again. Yeah, so it is working now. So you see, it is just going to install our Django, then install all the dependencies, installing all the things we need, including the Django inside. So let us just give it some time. It will be done soon. It used to take some time, but it depends on how fast your system is. Mine, at least, it is somehow fast, but when it comes to the installation, you need to install every single dependencies, which is these things you are seeing here that are listed, including the Django. They are all going to be installed inside. So in the meantime, before it finishes installing, let me just I think, yeah, we are not looking for this. So let us, you know what next? Yeah, after installing, then setting up Django environment, then create a basic Django project application. So we are going to do that today. So our Django is done installing inside our virtual environment, and to confirm whether it installed, we can just jump into these libraries, then check site packages, then in there you find your Django with the version of the Django we are using, which is 4.2.4. This is Django. So the Django is is installed, and other things that I already tell you that is going to install, it is all installed inside the package, inside our this thing, what is it called, our virtual environment. So now Django is done installed. The next thing we need is setting up Django on our computer, because this is just installation that we did. We need to create Django application, and to create Django application you just need to write this command: Django -admin, Django -admin create project. Django -admin create project, then space the name of the project you are going to create. The name of the project you are going to create. So the name of our project is going to be, let us just call it my underscore project. So this is going to be our project. This is going to be our project. This is the command for creating Django project. Django -admin create project, then the name of the project, any name you decided to give it, it is okay. So Django has two layers. First of all, the project and the app. So it is telling us Django is not recognized. Oh, sorry, no Django -admin specified create project. Sorry, I make a mistake. Not create project, it's supposed to be start project. Oh my bad. Start, yes, start project, not create project. That's the mistake that I did. So you see, boom, our project is done creating. So let me just wipe the screen a little bit because we don't want to be seeing all those things. So after creating this project, now inside this project there is nothing inside except this manage.py and another folder again called project. So this project that you are seeing is our main Django application. This is the parent project. Please help us shut down your mic, please. See, Ahmad Mukhtar, please help us shut down your mic. So you see, this is the layer, this is the Django project layer, because we are going to be cloning from this project. This is the main Django project. Here is our settings, our URLs, and our widgets. So this, we have created the parent project. The next thing we need to create is the app. The app is going to be the app that we are going to customize. Okay, so we now have to cd into our project. Okay, so cd means change directory. I don't know, maybe if you are familiar with cmd, but in Django, honestly, you have to be familiar. Please, who is this one? Ahmad Mukhtar, please help us shut down your mic.
No, no.
Okay, so cd means change directory. Change directory, from moving to another directory, entering into another directory, or coming out from another directory. So cd, we are cding into a folder called my project, like this. Project. So cd my project, we are going to enter inside this folder. So if you are not familiar with cmd, please, I recommend you should just go and read a lot on command prompt, because throughout this Django we are going to be using a lot of command prompts. We are going to be using a lot of commands in command prompt. So if you have less experience on a command prompt, please try and read a lot on command prompt, so that you can catch up with it. So cd, we have already entered inside this folder, my project, and inside this my project we can check and see whatever it is inside this directory. We have manage.py as I entered before. Then we have another folder again with the same name, my project. So the next thing we need to do, we need to create our app inside this my project. Then the app is going to be Python, the command Python manage.py start app. Then the name of the app, we can just call this one my app, just to test. So now the app, it is creating. So the app is done creating. So now if we check, you see that my app is already created inside the project. So to confirm whether our Django app is live, it is working, like the Django app is successfully built, we can test it by running the server Python manage.py run server. Then we can just run the server. So our server is going to run. So the server is done running. Then you can use the local address like this and jump into your browser and then run it. So let us just run the address and see whether our Django is done running successfully. So our Django is working perfectly. You see it is saying this install works successfully, congratulations. So our Django app is running successfully. And then in our slide we said creating a basic Django app, basic Django project and application. So let us just try, instead of displaying this page, let us just try displaying hello world with just a simple this thing on the browser. So let us just jump into this. Let me just shut down the server and then view this on our Visual Studio Code. So let me just view it in our Visual Studio Code so that we can just customize it a little bit. It's like do you have question? It's like you are raising your hand. You have question?
I do. Please, yes, sir. Please, I would like to know, because I've been looking at this Django setup and all.
Okay.
Does it mean the way we set up our apps? Does it mean we cannot do it that way? Must we use Terminal
Yes,
to set up?
yes, Django. Did you have to use terminal? That's the rule. It's not just
And
Django.
I also noticed that you use Terminal to do eventually everything.
Yes, because it's just a command that you'll be writing to create the app and then to create the project. Without terminal, you cannot build that app. It's just a command, using command to build it. Yeah,
Wow.
that's how it works.
Okay. Right.
Okay, but don't worry, it is easy. With time, you will catch it up because this one is just a beginning. In our next class, before we move on with the next class, I will recall this class again before we move on to our next four topics that we are going to look at, which is next week. But in the meantime, you can just go and practice this. Any issue you are encountering, just just drop it in the group and I'll attend it. So
All right. Just that I feel nervous. This Linux. I'll be running away from this Linux. This terminal.
no, honestly, if you are into software engineering, or maybe let me just say you are into web development, you need to be familiar with CMD, with command prompt, because you can't escape command prompt. You can't. As long as you are into tech, so command prompt is a must. You must use it.
From this Django, it seems that is a must.
Yeah, not only Django, even the PHP you are using, when it comes to hosting or something like that, you still need to use your command prompts to do that kind of things.
Wow.
Yes. So here's our app. Inside our app, we have admin, apps, models. This is the model I'm telling you. Model, view, and then the controller is where our URL is. Then inside our project, we still have the same thing, but a little bit different options. We have settings, while we don't have settings here. We have URLs, while we don't have URLs, which is going to be our controllers in our apps. So we are going to create that file now. And then the next thing is here is our SQLite database. So I didn't tell you guys that we are not going to use my SQL for now. First of all, after you understand the Django and try to build some little projects, we'll now move into using MySQL to integrate MySQL inside. But in the meantime, we are going to use SQLite to integrate our database. Here is it. We don't need to connect any external database. Our database is going to be internal. So to create our app, let us start with the views. Here is the view, and in the view, what we need here, we just need to define a function, and we can just call this index. Let us just call this index. And the next thing we need inside this parameter is request that is going to be sending outside the view. So after this request, we are going to return a HTTP. I think I need to import HTTP. No, from Django.http import HTTP response. Yeah. So we are going to let us just use HTTP response to our front end. So we can just pass something a little bit here. Let us even nest HTML inside, like let us use h2 and then say hello world, and then closing h2 closing. So let us just render this request to our browser. So before we move on to pushing this thing to our browser, this response to our browser, we have to make a little setting starting from this URL. In this URL, here is something that is already generated inside. We just need to include our own app URLs inside. Then here we need to include we need to include, then instead of this admin.site.urls, we are going to include our own app URL. So inside this app URL, we are going to pass the name of our app, which is my app, then .urls. We are going to create this file my URLs. So we are done with this. Then inside settings, we need to install that app. This app, we need to install it inside our install apps, which is this place. We can just say my app. I think that's all for the settings. Then we need to come inside this my app and then create a file called urls.py. This is where our controllers is going to be. Here is our view, and we also have our models where our table is going to be built using classes with Python. Then we have our controllers, which is this urls.py. Then we need to import some model from Django dot path, no, from Django what's the name of this thing? I have forgot the name. From Django dot urls, I think, yes, from Django dot urls, import path. Then we are going to use URL patterns. This variable, it has to be declared just the way it is. URL patterns without mistakes, because if you make mistake on this one, it might not be running anything on your browser. So we can call this path now, and set path function is going to be empty. So this is where you are going to specify your route. This empty means whenever we just jump into the page without writing slash anything, it is going to display whatever is in our index page. And then comma, it is going to include, let us import our views from dot import views, which is this views. You see, this views.py from dot, which is our current directory, my app, from this current directory, my app, issue import this views. Why is it this views? It is importing it because our index, it is inside this view, this index, and we want this index to render whatever is inside this HTTP response. So we can just say views dot index. I think this is the name of it. Then we can also specify, give it a name that we can repair it in case you are redirecting to it again. But for now, we might not need it, but in case in future, this name is very important. If you are redirecting to a request, this name is very important. So we can just give it index or any name you decided to give it. So I think we are done setting up everything to display this simple hello world on the browser to replace whatever it is inside that browser. Let me check whether our server is still running. Our server is not running. Let us run it again. So our server is up. We can just go and check it again. So instead of displaying this page, we are expecting to see hello world. So boom, here's our hello world. So here's the end of our class today. Any questions?
Yes, but sincerely, I did not even understand.
Don't worry, as long as you have the basic understanding of today's class. The reason why I'm very fast is that I don't have enough charge due to some project that I was building since, and we don't have much light today. So but in our next class, I said I will recap everything before we move on to the next topics we are going to look at next week. But in the meantime I want you to try, even though it's like I'm recording this video, so I'll just took a little time and edit it and then send it to the group so that you guys you can still use it to uh, rewatch it again, and maybe if you have any questions you can just drop it in the group and I'll attend to it. Inshallah.
Okay, sir. Sir, please, can you create a YouTube channel so that I'll be dropping in the videos?
Yeah, I have that mind of building the YouTube channel. The only thing there is that this is the first course, so before I start pushing this project to the YouTube, I would like at least we should do a lot of these classes first, because this is the first class. Maybe after our next class I will just build it and then push it there so that you guys will be taking it there.
Doesn't matter even if it's for so it's not the target is for us to refer to that when we don't understand instead of you posting it on the
Okay, so no problem,
can
I'll
refer
push
to
it to the YouTube channel and I'll share you the link, inshallah. It's okay.
all right, thank you.
So the rest of you, any question? It's like the rest myself are out, so we can just call it a day.
All right, thank you,
Yeah, okay.
sir. All right, bye.